Alright, this thing happened very suddenly. I couldn't cover it the day that it was happening because I had other stuff I had to get to, and I was just a little bit busy. But we're here now covering this Trump-Venezuela thing. I'll try to upload this as soon as possible. Trump made a speech. In case you guys don't know what happened, I'm sure everybody knows at this point because it's like been all over the news and everywhere. Trump started bombing Caracas in Venezuela. Well, we really are putting ourselves on the crosshairs for starting a war. I mean, like, Trump has become the very first president within a singular term to bomb 7 different countries, and this is what a lot of people voted for. I mean, I can't be fucking upset when the writing has been on the wall, because it's like, the writing has been on the fucking wall for this shit to happen if you were gonna vote for someone like Trump, and people voted for this shit, so it is what it is.
Okay, thank you very much. This is big stuff. Appreciate you being here. Late last night and early today, at my direction, the United States Armed Forces conducted an extraordinary military operation in the capital of Venezuela.
Without Congress, by the way. Just a key important detail. I don't know if Trump actually says it here.
Overwhelming American military power, air, land, and sea, was used to launch a spectacular assault, and it was an assault like people have not seen since World War II.
Since World War II. What about the Vietnam War? I'm pretty sure there's like other things you can name. Like literally they were doing it. Honestly, the biggest reason why Trump is bombing Venezuela, and he's like doing he's been doing like the boat bombings before we bombed the capital of Venezuela. The biggest reason we were doing this is honestly because of oil, and also to distract from the fact that Trump probably raped kids on Epstein Island. So just everything has been like a massive distraction from that.
It was a force against a heavily fortified military fortress in the heart of Caracas to bring outlaw dictator Nicolas Maduro to justice. This was one of the most stunning, effective, and powerful displays of American military might and competence in American history. And if you think about it, there's some other good ones, like the attack on Soleimani, the attack on al-Baghdadi, and the obliteration and decimation of the Iran nuclear sites just recently.
Yeah, so 7 different countries. Syria, Nigeria, Iran, Venezuela, I believe Iraq, and there's like some other countries that are not coming to me off the top of my head, but they're like, oh yeah, Somalia as well. That's another one. Yeah. I love that we're pretending like we're acting like we're hot shit when we bomb all these like fucking third world countries. Like, it's really, wow, we act like we accomplished so much.
In an operation known as Midnight Hammer, all perfectly executed and done. No nation in the world could achieve what America achieved yesterday, or frankly in just a short period of time.
Wow, you bombed a bunch of third world countries. You accomplished so much. Look at you, Trump. Wow. This definitely isn't a distraction from the fact that you were best friends with a certain fucking infamous pedophile or anything.
All Venezuelan military capacities were rendered powerless as the men and women of our military, working with U.S. law enforcement, successfully captured Maduro in the dead of night. It was dark. The lights of Caracas were largely turned off due to a certain expertise that we have.
Wow, it's just like the undertone of the smugness from bombing these third world countries. Now listen, look, there's a whole conversation to have. I've had it on the channel before. I think I had this conversation when I reacted to the fucking Asmongold Kyle Kalinske thing. If you guys want to watch that full video, it's a pretty long watch, but if you want something to watch in the background, I think it's worth watching it. Anyway, the Venezuela boat bombings have been going on before this like massive event has happened. And I think there's a conversation to have about whether or not it's proportionate. Now, yes, it's likely that they were transporting narcotics. We didn't even know for sure if they were at the time when Trump was bombing the boats. But even if they were, right? Let's just say that they were. Is the punishment instantly bombing and killing them? If the punishment was instantly killing people with drugs, can you imagine how many people in the United States of America would be dead to that? Just imagine for 1 second.
It was dark, and it was deadly. But captured along with his wife, Celia Flores, both of whom now face American justice. Maduro and Flores have been indicted in the Southern District of New York. It's Jay Clayton.
I really don't like the precedent that this all sets going forward, because if America starts getting too comfortable bombing any country, we're really putting ourselves in the crosshairs of starting a war with other countries. And obviously, Venezuela is not going to be able to start a war with America. They would not be able to keep up with America whatsoever. Venezuela is a third world country, and they're extremely, they're in disarray, and they're even more in disarray now after what we did. But, I just feel like that we have to understand that the precedent that this sets, going forward, if Trump gets too comfortable bombing other countries, this is going to get, really, it's fucked, right? Surely, I feel like we should have a right to be concerned about how Trump handles this shit going forward, because he's going to get way too comfortable doing this shit to plenty of different places on Earth. I also don't think it's right that America, the whole point of America is people can come here to have to immigrate here to have a better life and to spread Western values, when the extent of said Western values is just bombing other third world countries. I feel like that's just not a good precedent to be setting.
Pain of deadly narco-terrorism against the United States and its citizens.
Which means the punishment is instant death. Yeah, you got it, Trump.
I want to thank the men and women of...
Literally, they're also just doing this for oil. Oil and then the Epstein files. That's literally it. That's all this is oil and the Epstein files.
Our military who achieved such an extraordinary success overnight with breathtaking speed, power, precision, and competence. You rarely see anything like it. You've seen some raids in this country that didn't go so well. They were an
like what?
Embarrassment. If you look back to Afghanistan or...
Okay. I mean, you spearheaded January 6th. That was embarrassing ass fucking rage.
If you look back to...
Because you made up some bullshit conspiracy theory that the election was stolen from you. Listen, Biden took the L. When he lost the election, or sorry, no, he won the election. Sorry, Biden took the L when he stepped away and Kamala Harris had to step in. That's what I meant to say. Sorry. Democrats, for the most part, are generally good at taking L's. They don't make up any, dumb conspiracy that elections are stolen. But the moment it happens to Trump, suddenly it's there's election fraud. Even though Trump worked with fucking Kremlin lawyers, he had his son meet up with Kremlin lawyers to get him elected from Russia, and there was definitely Russian collusion. It's on the FBI website, so it's there's not even we shouldn't even be still having this conversation.
The Jimmy Carter days, they were different days. We're a respected country again, maybe never before.
Wasn't Jimmy Carter a very I mean, well, I don't know. Some people said that Jimmy Carter wasn't the greatest president, but they gave him credit for being one of the nicest guys ever. I guess sometimes being a nice president isn't what the country necessarily needs, though. We certainly don't need fucking fascists like Trump running the country, though.
Highly trained warriors operating in collaboration with U.S. law enforcement caught them in a very ready position. They were waiting for us. They knew we had many ships out in the sea, just sort of waiting. They knew we were coming.
Bro, the way he's talking, you can really tell the dementia is kicking in.
So they were in a ready, what's called a ready position. But they were completely overwhelmed and very quickly incapacitated. If you would have seen what I saw last night, you would have been very impressed. I'm not sure that you'll ever get to see it, but it was an incredible thing to see.
He said it's incredible to be bombing another fucking third world country. You guys are really not that. You guys are acting like you accomplished the fucking world's biggest savior. You guys are acting like you're the good guys from the Avengers or some shit. Obviously Venezuela is not doing great and it's under a dictatorship and there's a lot of really not so... I certainly wouldn't want to live in Venezuela. But are you seriously saying that just because they're transporting drugs and they're using drugs to some capacity, that that's a justifier to be bombing this country indiscriminately? What are you talking about? You literally put us in the crosshairs for, like, potential wars going on in the future. Obviously, Venezuela is not going to be able to defeat America. America's way stronger than Venezuela will be. But the precedent that this sets is undeniably fucking scary. That is not a justifier to put America in the fucking crosshairs as the world's supervillain. Get the fuck out of here.
Not a single American service member was killed, and not a single piece of American equipment was lost. We had many helicopters, many planes, many people involved in that fight. But think of that, not one piece of military equipment was lost, not one service member was, more importantly, killed.
I think the worst part about all of this is the fact that, like, Trump is going to come out of this. I'm also going to speed this up a little bit because this is a little bit long, so I'm going to speed this to 1.25 times speed. I really don't like that this basically just says that, like, nothing is going to happen to Trump, especially not under his administration. They're all fucking corrupt. They're not going to hold him accountable. And the reason that they should hold him accountable is because he went against Congress. But he just went ahead and fucking did it. So, yeah, I mean, people were saying, oh, but Trump's not that much of a threat to democracy. He's just different. Okay. Just wait until you see the orders that he's going to continue to give. We're almost a year into his presidency, and so much bad shit has happened. Like, this just reinforces the fact that Trump has done absolutely nothing that is positive for this country.
The state's military is the strongest and most fearsome military on the planet by far. With capabilities and skills our enemies can scarcely begin to imagine. We have the best equipment anywhere in the world. There's no equipment like what we have, and you see that even if you just look at the boats. You know, we've knocked out 97% of the drugs coming in by sea. 90%. Each boat kills 25.
That's not a justifier to be indiscriminately bombing another country. Are you fucking kidding me?
On average, 25,000 people. We knocked out 97%. And those drugs mostly come from a place called Venezuela. We're going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. So we don't want to be involved with having somebody else get in, and we have the same situation that we had for the last long period of years. So we are going to run
ironic given the power that you have right now.
The country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. And it has to be judicious, because that's what we're all about. We want peace, liberty, and justice for the great people of Venezuela. And that includes...
Which means bombing them indiscriminately, like we've been doing for the past few months. Yeah.
Many from Venezuela that are now living in the United States and want to go back to their country. It's their homeland. We can't take a chance that somebody else takes over Venezuela that doesn't have the good of the Venezuelan people in mind. We had decades of that. We're not going to let that happen. We're there now, and what people...
Literally all I'm hearing from this is oil, 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 oil. If you... at this point, if you're not convinced that Trump did this for, one, oil, and two, a distraction from the fact that he fucking raped kids on Epstein Island and that he had a fucking 13-year-old's mouth on his cock, then at this point, you're fucking stupid. Like, I'm convinced that you're just dumb, and you're obviously not paying attention to what's going on in politics if you don't see it that way. Because this is very obviously meant to distract from that specifically. And also, throughout history, when America has done shit for oil, that's clearly worked out in history. Why do you think 9/11 happened? Yeah, why do you think we got fucking attacked? Why do you think the Twin Towers were down? It's because of dumb, idiot decisions that we got too greedy for fucking oil, and people went after us for it. I'm not saying people deserve to die on 9/11. No, not at all. But Jesus Christ, like, that's never worked out in history. So, yeah, don't really like the precedent we're setting here.
Don't understand, but they understand as I say this. We're there now, but we're going to stay until such time as the proper transition can take place. So we're going to stay until such time as we're going to run it, essentially, until such time as a proper transition can take place. As everyone knows, the oil business in Venezuela has been a bust, a total bust, for a long period of time. They were pumping almost nothing by comparison to what they could have been pumping and what could have taken place. We're going to have our very large United States oil companies, the biggest anywhere in the world, go in, spend billions of dollars, fix the badly broken infrastructure, the oil infrastructure, and start making money for the country. And we are...
This is probably going to be the only fucking honest part of the entire speech that Trump has, because it's literally just oil. That's the whole purpose that they did this, was oil and the Epstein files. Hey everybody, sorry that this is edited in a jarring manner while you're watching Trump give a speech about the Venezuelan bombings, but I forgot to plug the Iconismus TikTok. Iconismus _ is my TikTok. You guys can watch exclusive shorts here that I don't normally post in long form content. These also go on Blue Sky, Twitter, and on YouTube Shorts. But I've been trying to get the TikTok more exposure. So if you guys have not already followed me on TikTok, go follow me there. You get to watch clips about how Asmongold calls for violence on the Minnesota after the Venezuelan attacks. You also get to see another clip of Anissa saying that she would never have kids with iDubbbz because she's scared that Ian would have the kid inherit all of his ugly features. And there's also some kick drama that I covered in some of these clips. These are exclusive reactions that you won't get in long form content. You can also see my opinion on Peach Jars only disliking Dan Clancy for selfish reasons. She specifically said it because she had a bad experience with Dan Clancy, not when he handled the TwitchCon situation poorly. You can see my takes on all of these situations. So what are you waiting for? Go to my TikTok, that's Iconismus _, and follow me there to get all of these free exclusive shorts. Been trying to grow the TikTok, and it would be great to have you along with there.
Ready to stage a second and much larger attack if...
It really is insane how Trump has gotten so desperate. Like, this Epstein shit just hasn't gone away for months and months, and he's gotten so desperate to do all this shit. That's why he was, like, overextending his hand with ICE, with the ICE shit that was going on this year. That's why he's been doing, like, all this shit. He's been ramping up and posting a bunch of shit on Truth Social. He's been really trying to throw a ton of shit at the wall to see what sticks, and now he's getting really desperate, which is why he's doing this whole Venezuela shit, because he's really desperate for people to just stop talking about the Epstein files so much.
We need to do so. So we were prepared to do a second wave if we needed to do so. We actually assumed that a second wave would be necessary, but now it's probably not. The first wave, if you'd like to call it that, the first attack was so successful, we probably don't have to do a second, but we're prepared to do a second wave, a much bigger wave, actually. This was pinpoint, but we have a much bigger wave that probably won't have to do. This partnership of Venezuela with the United States of America, a country that everybody wants to be involved with because of what we were able to do and accomplish, will make the people of Venezuela rich, independent, and safe. And it will also make the many, many people
making America more rich and safe.
From Venezuela that are living in the...
Guys, don't spend money on wars in other countries. Unless you use it for my personal birthday parade that only, like, at most 2,000 people showed up compared to all the other No Kings protests that appeared that day. Or if we spend it on wars. But we have to conserve money otherwise.
The United States extremely happy. They suffered. They suffered. So much was taken from them. They're not going to suffer anymore. The illegitimate dictator Maduro was the kingpin of a vast criminal network responsible for trafficking colossal amounts of deadly and illicit drugs into the United States. As alleged in the indictment, he personally oversaw the vicious cartel known as Cartel de las Solas, which flooded our nation with lethal poison, responsible for the deaths of countless Americans, the many, many Americans. Hundreds of thousands over the years of Americans died because of him. Maduro and his wife will soon...
Yeah, I highly doubt that.
...face the full might of...
I get the feeling that some of that's a little bit exaggerated because he's just trying to justify bombing Venezuela disproportionately.
And stand trial on American soil. Right now they're on a ship. They'll be heading to ultimately New York, and then a decision will be made, I assume, between New York and Miami or Florida. But we have people where the overwhelming evidence of their crimes will be presented in a court of law, and I've seen it. I've seen what we have. It's both horrible and breathtaking that something like this could have been allowed to take place.
Yes, because Trump cares so much about drugs. You want to know another crazy thing? Trump pardoned several people involved with drugs. He pardoned the founder of Silk Road, There's a couple of others I'm going to pull up right now. Yeah, so Trump has pardoned and granted clemency to at least 100 people for drug-related crimes across his 2 terms office. He pardoned Juan Orlando Hernandez, the former president of Honduras, who was convicted by the U.S. jury of running his country as a narco state to helping move at least 400 tons of cocaine into the United States. Michael R. Harry O'Harris, the co-founder of Death Row Records. Harris was serving a 28-year sentence for his role in a national drug operation in crack cocaine kidnapping. His sentence was commuted in January 2021, and he received a full pardon in May 2025 of last year. Yeah, the founder of Silk Road, as I mentioned earlier, who was he had like 200 million in anonymous illegal drug sales. Garnett Gilbert Smith, a Baltimore drug kingpin described by the DEA as one of the largest cocaine heroin dealers to be arrested by the DEA in recent history. In his 25-year sentence, he was pardoned by Trump. Crazy. Wow. Yeah, Trump cares so much about drugs when he's pardoning people who have been heavily involved in like drug trafficking rings. But sure, yeah, we're gonna pretend that this is about the dangerous drugs coming into America.
For many years after his term as president of Venezuela expired, Maduro remained in power and waged a ceaseless campaign of violence, terror, and subversion against the United States of America, threatening not only our people, but the stability of the entire region. And you also had, in addition to trafficking gigantic amounts of illegal drugs that inflicted untold suffering and human destruction all over the country, all over in particular the United States, Maduro sent savage and murderous gangs, including the bloodthirsty prison gang Tren de Aragua, to terrorize American communities nationwide. And he did indeed. They were in Colorado. They took over apartment complexes. They cut the fingers.
You don't care about that. You don't, like, I'm not really here for Trump doing this, like, weird virtue signal about, like, Venezuelans or Maduro trying to, like, take over these, like, apartment complexes, which I don't even know if the level of it happening is even accurate, because, like, it's just, I don't even feel like verifying it, because Trump is boring. He just fucking lies all the time. He literally just lies. Literally, all this really screams is just oil. We're doing this for more oil. Really. That's really what this all comes down to. And I don't think he truly cares about it. Like, Trump is the #1 escalator for political violence in America. He's, like, pretending that it's a bad thing that it's happening here, which I don't even think he's, like, accurately retelling it. But Trump has been the #1 escalator for political violence happening in America. But people only seem to care when it happens in certain circumstances, not when it happens from Trump himself, despite him being, like, the #1 escalator for it.
Here's how people, if they call police, they were brutal. They're not so brutal now. And I just have to congratulate.
Gotta love that how so fucking smug that he comes across here.
Our military, Pete, and everybody on our National Guard, because the job that they've done, whether it's in Washington, D.C., where we have a totally safe city, where it was one of the most unsafe cities anywhere in the world, frankly, and now we have no crime in Washington, D.C. We haven't had a killing.
We've had no crime in Washington, D.C. until I come up with a conspiracy theory that the election was stolen years ago, and then I fucking caused an entire fucking riot and tried an attempt to insurrect the government, because I don't give a fuck about our laws whatsoever, and I've been trying to push the limits of what our laws are capable of.
The terrorist attack.
Oh my god.
A little bit of a different.
I'm sorry, but the people who are MAGA that turned against Trump, like, I don't feel sorry for you people. I'm sorry. I don't feel sorry for any of you motherfuckers, because the writing had been on the wall for this shit to happen before Trump was even elected. If Trump got elected in any circumstance, this was gonna happen one way or another, that he would, like, pretty much act like a total fucking dictator and try to push the boundaries of what is possible when it comes to the shit that's going on in the United States of America.
Kind of a threat, but we haven't had a killing in a long period of time, 6-7 months. We used to have 2.
He literally just did a 6-7 meme. He, like, in a speech where he's fucking bombing Venezuela, he literally just did, like, a 6-7 meme in between.
On average, 2 a week in Washington, our capital. We don't have that anymore.
Do you think Trump's like, honestly, this might be a little conspiracy brain to me, but do you think Trump is trying to, like, revive his meme status as, like, a further distraction from the Epstein files? I'm gonna keep bringing it back to the Epstein files. I don't care. Like, because that's everything that he's been doing. He's been getting really desperate to distract from the Epstein files, that he's willing to bomb other countries to make sure that people talk about something else other than hammering him for him having sex with children on Epstein Island. So, like, I wouldn't doubt that, like, he's trying to do, like, a 6-7 meme in between because he wants to get people talking online that Trump is like, oh my god, Trump said the thing! He said the thing! And so people start talking about that and not talking about the more damning shit about him.
The restaurants are opening, everyone's happy. They're walking their daughters, they're walking their children, their wives, and walk to restaurants.
Right, except all the civilians that you killed in Venezuela, right? That's, yeah, we're not going to talk about that, I guess.
Restaurants are opening all over Washington, D.C.
It's a glorious sight to see when civilians die and get blown the fuck up indiscriminately by bombs, and that we put the United States in the crosshairs for potential wars going forward with all the countries we've been bombing. Yeah.
So I want to thank the National Guard, I want to thank our military, and I want to thank law enforcement. It's been amazing. And they should do it with more cities. We're doing it, as you know, and we're doing it in Memphis, Tennessee right now, and crime is down. We just sort of started a few weeks ago, but crime is down now 77%. And the governor of Louisiana called, great person, and he wanted us to help him, as you know, in a certain very nice part of Louisiana, and we have done that. And it was a rough section, and we have crime down. I understand it's down to almost nothing already after 2.5 weeks. New Orleans, it's down to almost nothing, and we've only been there for 2.5 weeks. Can't imagine why governors wouldn't want us to help. We also helped, as you know, in Chicago, and crime went down a little bit there. We did a very small help because we had no working ability with the governor. The governor was a disaster, and the mayor was a disaster, but it knocked down crime. But we're pulling out of there when they need us.
Well, yeah, probably because you fucking bombed the country, so I imagine they wouldn't be as inclined to be as cooperative with you, considering you fucking attacked them indiscriminately and used drugs as a justifier for it.
We'll know. You'll know. You'll be writing about it. And likewise, Los Angeles, where we saved Los Angeles early on, where the head of the police department made a statement that if the federal government didn't come in, we would have lost Los Angeles. That's long after the fires. That's when they had the riots in Los Angeles. We did a great job. Got no credit for it whatsoever, but that's okay. It doesn't.
Yeah, the riots that were caused by you because you were using ICE indiscriminately in America and robbing people from due process. Yeah, sure, okay. I wonder why people are so violent in the in the fucking ICE and LA riots. Oh my god, I wonder why people are so fucking violent. Oh my god, yeah. I wonder, Trump.
We don't need the credit. But we'll be pulling out when they need us. They'll call, or we'll go back if we have to. We'll go back.
But January 6th is totally fine, dude. That was totally fine. Trying to insurrect the entire fucking government. Yeah, totally chill.
But we did a great job in various cities. But the place that we're very proud of is Washington, D.C., because it's our nation's capital. We took it from being a crime-ridden mess to being one of the safest cities in the country.
Crime is bad unless I get to fuck children.
The gangs that they sent raped, tortured, and murdered American women and children.
Yeah, okay. So did you on Epstein Island, and you're not showing that.
They were in all of the cities I mentioned, Aragua, and they were sent by Maduro to terrorize our people, and now Maduro will never again be able to threaten an American citizen or anybody from Venezuela. There will no longer be threats. For years I've highlighted the stories of those innocent Americans whose lives were so heartlessly robbed by this Venezuelan terrorist organization. Really one of the worst. They say the worst.
Wow, because you care so much.
Americans like 12-year-old Jocelyn Nungary from Houston. Beautiful Jocelyn Nungary, what happened to her? They, as you know, they kidnapped, assaulted, and murdered by Tren de Aragua animals. They murdered Jocelyn and left her dead under the bridge. There was a bridge.
Guys, don't talk about the Epstein files. Please, do not talk about the Epstein files. I'm begging you, do not talk about the Epstein files. Don't keep talking about it, please. That's literally all I'm hearing here, is just don't talk about the Epstein files. Don't draw awareness to it, please.
It will never be the same to so many people after seeing what happened. As I've said many times, the Maduro regime emptied out their prisons, sent their worst and most violent monsters into the United States to steal American lives. And they came from mental institutions and insane asylums. They came from prisons and jails. The reason I say both, they sound similar. Actually, prisons a little bit more hostile, a little bit tougher. A mental institution isn't as tough as an insane asylum, but we got them both. They sent from their mental institutions, they sent from their jails, prisons. They were drug dealers, they were drug kingpins. They sent everybody bad into the United States, but no longer. And we have now a border where nobody gets through. In addition, Venezuela unilaterally seized and stole American oil, American assets, and American platforms, costing us billions and billions of dollars. They did this a while ago, but we never had a president that did anything.
Oil.
We built it.
Oil. More oil.
President that decided to do anything about it. Instead, they fought wars that were 10,000 miles away. We built Venezuela oil industry with American
oil. Yep, here we go. Oil.
Stole it from us during those previous administrations, and they stole it through force.
Oil in the Epstein files. That's literally the entire reason for this. That's it.
This constituted one of the largest thefts of American property in the history of our country. Considered the largest theft of property in the history of our country. Massive oil infrastructure was taken like we were babies, and we didn't do anything about it. I would have done something about it.
I would have done something about it if I was president back in the day.
America will never allow foreign powers,
because I'm such a great influence on this country,
to rob our people and drive us back into and out of our own hemisphere. That's what they did. Furthermore, under the now deposed dictator Maduro, Venezuela was increasingly hosting foreign adversaries in our region and acquiring menacing offensive weapons that could threaten U.S. interests and lives. And they used those weapons last night. Potentially in league with the cartels operating along our border. All of these actions were in gross violation of the core principles of American foreign policy, dating back more than 2 centuries. And not anymore. All the way back, it dated to the Monroe Doctrines. And the Monroe Doctrine is a big deal. But we've...
Yeah, I mean, I was talking to my dad about this last night, where, like, the Monroe Doctrine was something that dated way back in the day, because it's literally James Monroe, like, way back in the day. And it's basically how we handled... I don't remember the details, I have to look it up. So I had to refresh my mind on what the Monroe Doctrine was. It's been a while since I've been in history class, because every history class in, like, schools is taught what the Monroe Doctrine is. It was under James Monroe, that we already knew. But essentially, like, what this all says, according to this Wikipedia page, is basically that, like, the Monroe Doctrine is any country that, like, tries to interfere with anything in, like, South America, more than anything, like, the Spanish colonies of the Americas, would be considered a threat to the United States, right? It hasn't really been that relevant going forward. I think the only closest thing I could think of was when James Polk was president during the Mexican-American War, but even then, like, it was hardly relevant during then. But, like, it hasn't really been that relevant until Trump's presidency. I guess who would have fucking thought? Wow, that was not on my 2026 bingo card. But yeah, I guess the idea is that people maybe people understand the Monroe Doctrine. Trump is bringing it up because if any country decides to interfere with South America or decides to do anything about it, we will go to war, and we're putting ourselves on the fucking crosshairs for a giant war starting, basically. That's what really this all means to me. Wow, great.
Superseded it by a lot, by a real lot. They now call it the Monroe Doctrine. I don't know. It's Monroe Doctrine. We sort of forgot about it. It was very important, but we forgot about it. We don't forget about it anymore. Under our new national security strategy, American dominance in the Western Hemisphere will never be quite...
We don't forget about it because we gotta make sure the world knows who's boss, and that's America, baby. Yay. America, fuck yeah, am I right?
Won't happen. So just in concluding, for decades, other administrations have neglected or even contributed to these growing security threats in the Western Hemisphere. Under the Trump administration, we are reasserting American power in a very powerful way in our home region. And our home region is very different than it was just a short while ago. The future will be, and we did this in my first term. We had great dominance in my first term, and we have far greater dominance right now. Everyone's coming back to us. The future will be determined by the ability to protect commerce and territory and resources that are core to national security. These are core to our
oil.
They've made our country rich, and they've made our national security strong.
Yeah, and they've made everything else more fucking expensive. It's only benefited rich people. What the fuck are you talking about?
Than ever before. But these are the iron laws.
It's only benefited people like you and Elon Musk. That's literally the only reason the tariffs were put in place. Like, it literally benefits nobody but rich people.
that have always determined global power. And we're going to keep it that way. We will secure our borders. We will stop the terrorists. We will crash the cartels, and we will defend our citizens against all threats, foreign and domestic. Other presidents may have lacked the courage or whatever to defend America, but I will never allow terrorists and criminals to operate with impunity against the United States. This extremely successful operation should serve as warning to anyone who would threaten American sovereignty or endanger American lives. Very importantly, the embargo on all Venezuelan oil remains in full effect. The American Armada remains poised.
Oil, 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 oil.
The United States retains
It's literally everything that's happening here is just oil, oil, oil.
options until United States demands have been fully met and fully satisfied. All political and military figures in Venezuela should understand what happened to Maduro can happen to them, and it will happen to them if they aren't just fair, even to their people. The dictator and terrorist,
Right, because we've been so fair in our country. Thanks, Trump.
Maduro, is finally gone in Venezuela. People are free. They're free again. It's been a long time for them, but they're free. America is a safer nation this morning. It's a prouder nation this morning because it didn't allow this horrible person and this country that was doing very bad things to us. It didn't allow it to happen. And the Western Hemisphere is right now a much safer place to be. So I want to thank everybody for being here. I want to thank General Raising Cane. He's fantastic, man.
Raising Cane?
I worked with a lot of generals. I worked with some I didn't like. I worked with some I didn't respect.
Oh, General Cane. Yeah, I guess they call him Raising Cane.
I worked with some that just weren't good.
How dare you put a fucking bad name on Raising Canes?
It's fantastic. I watched last night one of the most precise attacks on sovereignty. I mean, it was an attack for justice. And I'm very proud of him, and I'm very proud of our Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, who I'm going to ask to say a few words. Thank you very much.
Holy fuck, dude.
Can you explain how the U.S. will run Venezuela?
Well, thank you, Mr. President. Finally, a commander-in-chief the world respects and the American people deserve. And as the president said, words
That they deserve. Fucking idiot. Jesus Christ.
barely capture the bravery and the power and the precision of this historic operation. A massive joint military
Bro, he's staring at his... Look at him. Look at Trump. He's staring at his ass.
and law enforcement raid.
He's looking down. Wait, hold up. Hold up, guys. Do you guys notice that?
And the power and the precision
Looking down at his ass.
of this historic operation.
Damn, looking around. Down at his ass again. His ass still. Staring around. He's trying to not act suspicious.
Greatest Americans our country has.
Looking at his ass again. Dude, I think the one disgusting thing that this tells us is that Trump was not just into little girls, he was also into little boys, too. That's extremely tough. That's, like, the only, like, really disgusting undertone that this tells us.
American warriors are second to none. The best in the world and the best of our country. What all of us witnessed last night.
He's looking at Pete Hegseth's ass again!
Sheer guts,
Bro, he's like, look down.
country, and glory of the American warrior.
Bro, anybody who's like a veteran or like a vet or whatever, like, you guys are not beating the homosexual allegations, which, listen, I love gay people. They're amazing. They're great people. They are some of the... They're actually pretty smart people, honestly, all things considered. Everybody that's in the military is, like, closeted gay to some capacity, and they're certainly not beating the allegations. I mean, Pete Hegseth kind of looks like the type of dude that would swing with a guy.
I'm simply humbled by such a man, and I tip my hat to our chairman, Dan Raising Cane, and all those Americans who stood watching
Dan Kane,
last night. Our warriors
which they call him Raising Canes for some reason.
are the elite of America, and again, President Trump has your back. No other country on planet Earth, and it's not even close, could pull this kind of operation off. And no other president has ever shown this kind of leadership, courage, and resolve. The most powerful combination the world has ever seen. As the president said, our adversaries remain on notice. America can reject our will anywhere, anytime. The coordination, the study, the precision, the very
My
long
God.
arc of American justice, all on full display in the middle of the night. Nicolas Maduro had his chance, just like Iran had their chance, until they didn't and until he didn't. He effed around.
Even if they took the chance, you guys still would have bombed them because you're doing anything you can. And Trump is still staring at his ass! He's still looking. He's got laser vision on that ass.
No. President Trump is deadly serious about stopping the flow of gangs and violence to our country.
Yes, and that's why he pardoned so many people that were involved in drug operations in the United States of America. That's exactly why, yeah.
Deadly serious about stopping the flow of drugs and poison to our people. Deadly serious about getting back the oil that was
The
stolen.
founder of Silk Road is free to go, baby, and I'm still looking at his ass! He's still looking! Bro, take a shot every time he stares at Pete Hegseth's ass. You guys are not going to be able to work tomorrow, or go to school tomorrow.
From us. And deadly serious about reestablishing American deterrence and dominance in the Western Hemisphere. This is about
Looking at the ass again. Gotta keep peeking.
the safety, security, freedom, and prosperity of the American people. This is America first. This is peace through strength. And the United
America first, baby.
States War Department is proud
America, fuck yeah.
to help deliver it.
Jeez, this is so fucking,
2026, and under President Trump, America is back.
When was it ever down? I feel like America's more fucked up than it is previously. And honestly, again, I said it before earlier in this video, it's hard to feel bad for MAGA who voted for this shit because, like, you guys decided to vote for somebody who's taking away tons of social security. You guys decided to vote for somebody who is taking away, like, the rights to marginalized groups, and who has decided to take away, who's made, like, healthcare cuts, who has decided to add a fuckload of tariffs to the country, and has been, like, the #1 escalator for political violence. And honestly, at this point, just keep it coming. Keep it coming, because MAGA's so fucking stupid that this blew up right in front of their face, and that they didn't realize that, oh, this is what we voted for. This is what we voted for. This is what you voted for. And you could say that they didn't vote for this, they chose not to vote for this, but the writing had been on the fucking wall, and if you didn't see it, you're stupid. I don't know what else to tell you, and I'm not going to be nice. I'm not going to pull any punches about it, because you decided to vote for somebody who did this, and who took away your social security. Like, if you voted for this, you deserve to suffer the consequences for it. And decide to get your head out of the delusional, quote-unquote, reality that you live in. Sorry. Like, that is what it is. Like, you know, maybe it's finally a wake-up call to start living in reality and not being part of a weird fucking cult that is MAGA.
I'd like to welcome now our Chairman Raising Cane, to give a few more details about the operation.
Oh, great, Raising Canes. Can I have some chicken at the very least for the horrible fucking speeches that you're giving? At the very least, you owe me some Raising Canes chicken.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Thank you, Mr. President, and good morning.
Thank you, Mr. President. We got the best Texas toast in the house.
Last night, on the order of the President of the United States, and in support of a request from the Department of Justice, as the President said, the United States military conducted an apprehension mission in Caracas, Venezuela, to bring to justice 2 indicted persons, Nicolas and Cecilia Maduro. This operation,
But not in America, because we pardoned several drug lords here.
known as Operation Absolute Resolve, was discreet, precise, and conducted during the darkest hours of January
Wasn't it called Midnight Resolve or something? What the fuck?
2nd, and was in the culmination of months of planning and rehearsal, an operation that, frankly, only the United States military could undertake. What I'd like to do this morning is talk you through some of the preparation and the details without compromising any of our tactics, techniques, and procedures. There is always a chance that we'll be tasked to do this type of mission again. Our interagency work began months ago and built on decades of experience of integrating complex air, ground, space, and maritime operations. While the past 2 decades have honed the skills of our special operations forces, this particular mission required every component of our joint force, with soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Guardians working in unison with our intelligence agency partners and law enforcement teammates in an unprecedented operation. We leveraged our unmatched intelligence capabilities and our years of experience in hunting terrorists. And we could
Wow. Great stuff, Raising Cane.
not have done this mission without the incredible work by various intelligence agencies, including the CIA, NSA, and NGA.
And Raising Canes. Can't forget that. Raising Canes, we're sponsored by Raising Canes, and we've gotten a lot of help from them.
We watched, we waited, we prepared, we remained patient and professional. This mission was meticulously planned, drawing lessons from decades.
Oil. More oil. Oh my god, he's staring at Raising Cane's ass too. Look at Trump. Look at his eyes. He's staring down too. He's looking down.
Many years, decades, or many missions over these last many years.
How many fucking little boys did Trump molest on that island? Jesus Christ.
This was an audacious operation that only the United States could do. It required the utmost of precision and integration within our joint force. And the word integration does not explain the sheer complexity of such a mission. An extraction so precise, it involved more than 150 aircraft launching across the Western Hemisphere in close coordination.
Can you stop making this sound more sophisticated than it actually was? You guys were attacking like third world countries and bombing third world countries for drugs, despite the fact that the president that you guys are under has pardoned several drug lords himself. Like, this is not that deep. Like, seriously. Like, the massive cognitive dissonance you guys are facing is like fucking crazy.
Coming together in time and place to layer.
Bro, stick to just making kitchen in the fucking. Wow, I fucked that joke up. I meant to say stick to making chicken in the kitchen. That's what I meant to say. The joke was that, you know, Raising Canes. Raising Cane. Okay, whatever. I fucked that joke up because my vernacular, my speech was fucked there. It is what it is. What are you gonna do?
Effects for a single purpose: to get an interdiction force into downtown Caracas while maintaining the element of tactical surprise.
Wow.
Failure of one component of this well-oiled machine would have endangered the entire mission, and failure is never an option for America's joint force.
Crazy.
Those in the air over Caracas last night were willing to give their lives for those on the ground and in the helicopters. Let me talk a little bit about the preparation. After months of work by our intelligence teammates to find Maduro and understand how he moved, where he lived, where he traveled, what he ate, what he wore, what were his pets, in early December, our force was set pending a series of aligned events. Key was choosing the right day to minimize the potential for civilian harm and maximize the element of surprise, and minimize the harm to the indicted personnel so, as the president said, they could be brought to justice. And as the president said earlier today, weather in Venezuela is always a factor this time of the year. And over the weeks through Christmas and New Year's, the men and women of the United States military sat ready, patiently waiting for the right triggers to be met and the president to order us into action. Last night, the weather broke just enough, clearing a path that only the most skilled aviators in the world could maneuver through. Ocean, mountain, low cloud ceilings, but when tasked with a mission,
I love that we care so much about crime when Trump himself is a convicted felon, and he has also been the #1 escalator for political violence in America. And also, we live in an administration that protects pedophiles, seemingly, despite MAGA seemingly voting for that as well, so that's fucking nice. And also the fact that they've had ties with Andrew Tate, who tried to pressure the administration to let go of his travel ban to Romania, and also tried to have Trump pressure Romania to pardon Andrew Tate as well. So that's cool.
Organization does not quit. At 10:46 p.m. Eastern Time last night, the president ordered the United States military to move forward with this mission. He said to us, and we appreciate it, Mr. President, good luck and Godspeed. And those words were transmitted to the entire joint force. Over the course of the night, aircraft began launching from 20 different bases on land and sea across the Western Hemisphere. In total, more than 150 aircraft, bombers, fighters, intelligence, reconnaissance, surveillance, rotary wing were in the air last night. Thousands and thousands of hours of experience were airborne. Our youngest crew member was 20, and our oldest crew member was 49, and there's simply no match for American military might. As the night began, the helicopters took off with the extraction force, which included law enforcement officers, and began their flight into Venezuela at 100 feet above the water. As they approached Venezuelan shores, the United States began layering different effects provided by Spacecom, Cybercom, and other members.
I feel like we've heard this before. Like, this is the same shit that he's saying over and over again. I feel like he's just repeating himself.
Members of the interagency to create a pathway. Overhead, those forces were protected from aircraft, were protected.
Do you think Trump is even listening to this speech? He's not even listening. He's like spending all this time staring at his ass and then looking around. Yeah, he's looking at his ass again. Like, I haven't even been pointing out every single time he's been doing it in this like fucking speech, but he's been like staring at his ass the entire fucking time.
United States Navy,
It's literally half of these speeches is just Trump staring at their ass and self-reporting that also there were little boys on Epstein Island too.
Force and the Air National Guard. The force included F-22s, F-35s, F-18s, EA-18s, E-2s, B-1 bombers, and other support aircraft, as well as numerous remotely piloted drones. As the force began to approach Caracas, the Joint Air Component began dismantling and disabling the air defense systems in Venezuela, employing weapons to ensure the safe passage of the helicopters into the target area. The goal of our air component is, was, and always will be to protect the helicopters and the ground force and get them to the target and get them home. As the force crossed the last point of high terrain where they'd been hiding in the clutter, we assessed that we had maintained totally the element of surprise. As the helicopter force ingressed towards the objective at low level, we arrived at Maduro's compound at 1:01 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, or 2:01 a.m. Caracas local time, and the apprehension force descended into Maduro's compound and moved with speed, precision, and discipline towards their objective, and isolated the area to ensure the safety and security of the ground force.
Oil.
While apprehending the indicted persons.
Literally, I don't even care, because it's like he's literally trying to fill up the speech time by saying the same thing over and over again, and Trump is still looking at his fucking ass. He's still thinking about seeing the arch on Raising Cain.
On arrival into the
I don't think seeing an arch on a chicken is very hot of you, Trump, but I wouldn't doubt that there's zoophiles on Epstein Island either. They were freaky as fuck on that island.
The helicopters came under fire, and they replied with that fire with overwhelming force and self-defense. One of our aircraft was hit, but remained flyable, and as the president said earlier today, all of our aircraft came home, and that aircraft remained flyable during the rest of the mission.
Wow.
As the operation unfolded,
he's still going.
The compound, our air and ground intelligence.
He's still yapping.
Real-time updates to the ground force, ensuring those forces could safely navigate the complex environment without unnecessary risk. The force remained protected by overhead tactical aviation. Maduro and his wife, both indicted, gave up and were taken into custody by the Department of Justice, assisted by our incredible U.S. military with professionalism and precision. With no
precision. He said precision like a million fucking times. He's saying the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. Like, dude, it's so annoying.
Loss of U.S. life. After
Oh my god, how long does this speech go on for? I might actually just skip this. We're just gonna skip to Marco Rubio. Whatever. I'm done. Like, he's literally... there's no commentary I can give over Raising Cain. He's just saying the same shit over and over again.
Their courage and tireless commitment to our nation are what makes us strong. Thank you, Mr. Secretary, and thank you, Mr. President.
Cool.
Well, I don't have much to add to it.
Oh, great. Marco Rubio is here. We need Alex Jones to caress his neck again. And Marco Rubio's like, don't touch me, man. Don't touch me, bro. Wait, where's that one clip? Let me find that clip, actually. I'm gonna find it right now. This clip is from The Guardian.
Google, does Facebook, does
That's why you didn't get elected.
Do they need to be regulated like, do they need to be regulated?
Marco Rubio the snake. Little frat boy here.
All right, man.
Yeah.
Well, who are you, man?
Yeah,
Who's
sure.
this guy? I swear to God, I
You
don't
better
know
hope
who
you
you
get
are, man.
deplatforming. Tens of millions of views.
Infowars.
Better than Rush Limbaugh. He knows who Infowars is. Playing this joke over here. That's why, and the deplatforming didn't work.
But here's the question. Here's a question.
Don't touch me again, man. I'm asking you not to touch me.
Well, sure, I just patted you nicely.
I know, but I don't want to be. I don't know.
Oh, you want me to get
man.
arrested?
I don't know who you are.
It's not just going to
You're
take
not
my
gonna
First
get arrested,
Amendment.
man. You're
It's
not
not
gonna
just
get
enough to
arrested.
take my
I'll
First
take care of
Amendment.
myself.
He'll beat me up.
I didn't say that.
I know I am, but he's so mad. You're not going to silence me. You're not going to silence
Well,
America.
but there are people.
You are literally like a little gangster thug.
This is so stupid. Like, listen, I fucking think Alex Jones is kind of a disgusting piece of shit for what he said about Sandy Hook and everything. So, like, I don't like him. But there are times where he's, like, so crazy that he's just hard to take seriously. Like, I legitimately thought that he was memeing, like, when I first heard of Alex Jones way back in the day. I'm not even kidding. Like, that's how fucking stupid he was.
People in this country.
Or some of the things that he was saying was stupid, I should say.
Rubio just threatened to physically take care of me.
There are people who
Look at
feel
that.
that they're being
We already got rid of my First Amendment.
silenced. They feel like
He tells you China's the
by-
problem, which it
by
is,
these
but they're
big
taking
companies
our free
like
speech right
Google,
now.
Social media platforms, Facebook,
There goes Rubio.
Twitter. Do you believe that these platforms need to be regulated like a public utility, and how do you go about doing that?
Well, I prefer not to. I prefer competition to take care of that.
Bro, Marco Rubio looks so pale here. Have you guys ever seen that? Like, Marco Rubio looks unbelievably fucking pale here. And, like, listen, now he's in the seat with the big boys with Donald Trump. We need Alex Jones to caress his neck again. Surely. Alright, I think you've seen everything that there is to offer in this clip. Is there anything else that they say? Nah, there's nothing. Okay, whatever. Yeah. I think we got what we needed to see from this clip.
He's not the legitimate president of Venezuela. That's not just us saying it. The first Trump administration, the Biden administration, the second Trump administration, none of those three recognize him. He's not recognized by the European Union and multiple countries around the world. He is a fugitive of American justice with a $50 million reward, which I guess we say $50 million. And yeah, exactly. But
Don't let anybody claim it. Nobody deserves it but us.
But I want to be clear about one thing. Nicolas Maduro had multiple opportunities to avoid this. He was provided multiple very, very, very generous offers and chose instead to act like a wild man, chose instead to play around. And the result is what we saw tonight.
Yes, that means we should be bombing Venezuela indiscriminately. That's a great justifier, Marco Rubio. Thank you.
The other message here is the following. You have a guy, like many people around the world, they like to play games. You have a guy who decides he's going to invite Iran into his country, is going to, do the confiscation of American oil companies, he's going to flood our country with gang members.
Yeah, it's literally just oil. Oil and the Monroe Doctrine, which, by the way, I didn't mention it earlier in this video, but the Monroe Doctrine, the only time the Monroe Doctrine was really relevant was, one, when James Monroe put it into effect, but that's like ancient history, like generations ago. And then, like, the only two times I can think of where the Monroe Doctrine was, like, actually kind of relevant was, when James Polk was president during, like, the Mexican-American War. Even then, that's a bit of a stretch. It wasn't, like, that relevant then. And then also during the, drug cartel, thing that went on during the 80s in, Panama and Nicaragua, specifically, with, Manuel Noriega. During the 80s, I believe that was, like, close to Reagan's presidency. I could be wrong. It's, but it kind of came up a little bit there. It hasn't really come up that often in history for a very long time until, now with Trump and president. So I think it's just important to bring that up, too. I forgot to bring up that context.
Is going to take Americans prisoner and try to hold them for hostage and trade them like he was able to do with the Biden administration. Basically likes to play games all this time and thinks nothing's going to happen. And I hope what people now understand is that we have a president. The 47th president of the United States is not a game player. When he tells you that he's going to do something, when he tells you he's going to address a problem, he means it.
Yeah, like the fact that he promised to release the Epstein files. In fact, he even ran his campaign off releasing the Epstein files, and then he chose not to do it. Also, he's still staring at your ass, Marco Rubio.
I can tell you, I've watched this process now for 14, 15 years, been around.
It's okay when Trump stares at his ass, but I guess fucking Alex Jones doing it, that's terrible. I mean, I don't know. I personally would be uncomfortable if I had to stand next to Alex Jones as well, so I guess I'll give that one to you.
I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. When I get there, we're going to do this, we're going to do this is a president of action. Like, I don't understand yet how they haven't figured this out. And now, if you don't know, now you know. Because this is the way it's going to play out. And I think people need to understand that this is not a president that just talks and does letters and press conferences. And, if he says he's serious about something, he means it.
Yeah, I mean, that's why he promised on releasing the Epstein files and he didn't.
And this is something that was a direct threat to the national interest of the United States, and the president addressed it. There's a
Bro, what an idiot. A total fucking idiot. He thinks that fucking Trump is a man of his word and that he always tells the truth and that he says he's gonna do something and that he'll do it. Okay, sure.
Peace, by the way. I told you what I just said earlier. This guy had multiple opportunities to find his way somewhere else and figure out another. He could have been living somewhere else right now, very happy, but instead he wanted to play big boy. So now, you know, he's got other sets of problems on his hands. And but I think that the message here should be for the world. Look, the president doesn't go out looking for people to pick fights with. He's not generally wants to get along with everybody. We'll talk and meet with anybody, but don't play games. Don't play games with this president's in office because it's not going to turn out well. And so I hope that I guess that lesson was learned last night, and we hope it'll be instructive moving forward.
Mr. President, where's the Epstein files? He's gonna dodge that question.
You said that the U.S. is going to run Venezuela, so who's in power right now?
Well, we're going to be running it with a group, and we're going to make sure it's run properly. We're going to rebuild the oil infrastructure, which will cost billions
Oil!
of dollars. It will be paid for by the oil companies directly. They will be reimbursed for what they're doing, but it's going to be paid. And we're going to get the oil flowing the way it should be. As you know, it was just a minor flow. It was actually a minor flow for what they have. But we're going to run it properly. We're going to make sure the people of Venezuela are taken care of. We're going to make sure the people that were forced out of Venezuela by this thug are also taken care of.
Great. I'm so reassured, Trump. Thank you.
Mr. President, does the U.S. running the country mean that U.S. troops will be on the ground? How will that work?
Well, you know, they always say boots on the ground. So we're not afraid of boots on the ground if we have to have. We had boots on the ground last night at a very high level, actually. We're not afraid of it. We don't mind saying it. But we're going to make sure that that country is run properly. We're not doing this in vain. This is a very dangerous attack. This is an attack that could have gone very, very badly. We could have lost a lot of people.
It could have gone very badly, and yet you could have just chosen to not attack them, Trump. Honestly, like that was an option, was to not interfere with those countries that were transporting narcotics, because again, the punishment isn't instant death. So
last night we could have lost a lot of dignity. We could have lost a lot of equipment. The equipment is less important, but we could have lost a lot. And we're going to make sure that this is proper. We're there now. We're ready to go again if we have to. We're going to run the country right. It's going to be run very judiciously, very fairly. It's going to make a lot of money. We're going to give money to the people. We're going to reimburse people that were taken advantage of. We're going to take care of everybody. It's very important. We couldn't let them get away with it. You know, they stole.
He's still trying to appeal to MAGA after all this time. People that were taken advantage of, but there are a good portion of MAGA that's turning on Trump. Which, to be fair, I don't feel sorry for MAGA that they felt betrayed, because the writing had been on the wall for Trump to fuck up the country. I mean, he has taken away people's Social Security. He's already taken away, he's already made cuts to healthcare. He's already made cuts to multiple departments. He's added a fuck ton of tariffs that have benefited absolutely nobody but rich people. He is, fucking overextended his hand with, ICE and deporting people without due process. He's done absolutely, literally, Trump has absolutely fucked up the economy in so many significant ways, and the people who voted for Trump absolutely deserve what's happening right now. They deserve it. You guys voted for this crap. So, yeah.
We built that whole industry there, and they just took it over like we were nothing. We had a president that decided not to do anything about it, so we did something about it. We're late, but we did something about it. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, can you explain the exact mechanism by which you're going to run the country? Are you going to designate a U.S. official to coordinate?
It's all being done right now. We're designating people. We're talking to people. We're designating various people, and we're going to let you know who those people are.
Would run Venezuela.
Well, it's largely going to be, for a period of time, the people that are standing right behind me. We're going to be running it. We're going to be bringing it back. It's a dead, I talk about a dead country. A year and a half ago, we were a dead country. Now we're the hottest country anywhere in the world. We're a country doing better than any country anywhere in the world. And it required leadership. Venezuela has a lot of bad people in there, a lot of bad people that shouldn't be leading. We're not going to take a chance at one of those.
Yeah, but is it bad enough to the point where we should be bombing them? Really? Is that are they bad enough to the point where we should be bombing them?
People take over for Maduro. So you can look at, and others, we have fantastic people, including people in the military. So we're going to have a group of people running it until such time as it can be put back on track, make a lot of money for the people, and give people a great way of life, and also reimbursement for people in our country that were forced out of Venezuela.
You said earlier today that you weren't going to back Machado to come back and be the opposition leader in your Fox and Friends interview. And then you also mentioned the vice president of Venezuela. Are you going to work with the vice president of Venezuela, or how do you foresee the relationship
Well, I
going?
understand she was just sworn in, but she was, as you know, picked by Maduro. So Marco's working on that directly. Just had a conversation with her, and she's essentially willing to do what we think is necessary to make Venezuela great again. Very simple.
Mr. President, Colombian President Gustavo Petro, a couple weeks ago, he said he's got to watch his ass. And today, he said he's not concerned about anything happening to him in the aftermath of this operation. So, just what your message is?
Well, he has cocaine mills. He has factories where he makes cocaine, And yeah, I think I stick by my first statement. He's making cocaine. They're sending it into the United States, so he does have to watch his hands.
He makes a ton of cocaine, but freeing the founder of Silk Road and a bunch of other people that were involved in many drug trafficking operations, that's totally fine. Like, we can free those people, but not this guy. Clearly, again, anyone who doesn't see that Trump was doing this for two big reasons, one being the fucking oil, and two being a distraction from the fact that Trump's a fucking pedophile on Epstein Island, if you don't see it that way, you're fucking stupid and you're not paying attention to politics. I really don't know what else to tell you if you don't see it that way, because that's obviously what's happening here. Like, Trump obviously doesn't give a shit about the drugs. He doesn't give a shit that Venezuela is a quote-unquote threat to America, which it isn't. I think he's heavily exaggerating that. Like, it's not good what Venezuela is doing. Like, transporting drugs, not good, but, like, probably does not deserve death.
Members of Congress in advance.
Marco, do you want to talk about that? Because you were involved.
We call members of Congress immediately after. This was not the kind of mission that you can do congressional notification on. It was a trigger-based mission in which conditions had to be met night after night. We watched and monitored that for a number of days. So it's just simply not the kind of mission you can call people and say, hey, we may do this at some point in the next 15 days. But it's largely a law enforcement function. Remember, at the end of the day, at its core, this was an arrest of 2 indicted fugitives of American justice, and the Department of War supported the Department of Justice in that job. Now, there are broader policy implications here, but it's just not the kind of mission that you can pre-notify because it endangers the mission.
If I could add one thing to that, Congress has a tendency to leak. This would not be good. If they leaked, General, I think it would have been maybe a very different result. But I have to say, they knew we were coming at some point. You know, a lot of ships out there, they sort of knew we were coming. But Congress will leak, and we don't want leakers.
Mr. President, you were one of the only people to watch this all play out live. What was Maduro doing when the U.S. forces entered what I assume would be his home? And also, was there any point where the U.S. was considering if Maduro pushed back or resisted killing Maduro?
It could have happened. It could have happened. He was trying to get into a safe place. You know, the safe place is all steel. And he wasn't able to make it to the door because our guys were so fast. They went through the opposition so fast. And there was a lot of opposition. You know, people were wondering, do we get him by surprise? Sort of surprise, but they were waiting for something. There was a lot of opposition. There was a lot of gunfire. You saw some of it today. But he was trying to get to a safe place, which wasn't safe because we would have had the door blown up in about 47 seconds, they say on average, regardless of how thick the steel was. It was a very thick door. It was a very heavy door, but he was unable to get to that door. He made it to the door. He was unable to close it.
So where's Maduro going to be?
Go ahead, finish.
Where is Maduro going to be in the time being right now? Do you know his exact
Well,
whereabouts?
eventually, ultimately, in the near future, he's going to be brought to New York.
And where is he going to be held? Where is he going to be held?
Oh, great. My hometown. Lovely.
That's going to be up to the officials that do these things.
Mr. President, the U.S. has something of a mixed track record
Mr. President, Mr. President, Mr. President!
of ousting dictators without necessarily a plan for what comes afterwards.
Not with
Did
me,
that
though.
weigh on your decision?
Well, that's why we had different presidents, but with me, that's not true. With me, we've had a perfect track record of winning. We win a lot. And
We win a lot, yeah. Also, you're a fucking Russian asset within the first election. He's referring to all the wins when it comes to elections and everything. Like, obviously, that's, like, the implication here, and that's the undertone of what he's saying here. But we have to remember that Trump is a fucking Russian asset who said that Ukraine was the one that started the war in the Russian-Ukraine war. So, yeah. And also, it's, like, basically confirmed that Trump had his son met with Kremlin lawyers in Russia to get Trump elected in the 2016 election. So, like, I mean, I think it's safe to say that Trump is a Russian asset.
when, if you look at Soleimani, you look at al-Baghdadi, you look at the Midnight Hammer. Midnight Hammer was incredible. Right now, you wouldn't have peace in the Middle East. We have essentially peace in the Middle East because of that. If we weren't successful with Midnight Hammer, you wouldn't have peace in the Middle East. So, with me, you've had a lot of victories.
Oh yeah, where Trump met with the fucking royalty of Saudi Arabia earlier this year to basically try to like whitewash everything Saudi did. Yeah, good stuff, I guess. Wow, incredible.
So you've had only victories. You've had no losses yet.
Mr. President, can you, how long do you expect the U.S. to run Venezuela, and how soon do you want Venezuelan people to hold elections?
So I'd like to do it quickly, but it takes a period of time. We're rebuilding. We have to rebuild their whole infrastructure. The infrastructure is rotted. It's actually very dangerous. It's a blow-up territory. Oil is very dangerous. It's a very dangerous thing to take out of the ground. It can kill a lot of people. It has killed a lot of people doing just that. The infrastructure is old. It's rotted. Much of it is stuff that we put there 25 years ago, and we're going to be replacing.
Just more oil, oil.
And we're going to take a lot of money out so that we can take care of the country.
Are you saying that Secretary Rubio and
Mr. President, China, Russia, and Iran have interests in Venezuela. How does this operation affect your relationships with them when
Well,
it
in
comes
terms
to
of
the oil and
China
drugs?
and Russia, Russia when we get things straightened out. But in terms of other countries that want oil, we're in the oil business. We're going to sell it to them. We're not going to say we're not going to. In other words, we'll be selling oil, probably in much larger doses because they couldn't produce very much because their infrastructure was so bad. So we'll be selling large amounts of oil to other countries, many of whom are using it now. But I would say many more will come.
are you saying that, Mr. President, are you saying that? Oh.
Mr. President, thank you. What is your message to the people of Venezuela today? Of course, the civilian population specifically, they have a lot of questions. What is your message to the people of
That
Venezuela?
you're going to have peace, justice. You're going to have some of the riches that you should have had for a long period of time. It was stolen from you. But you're going to have peace, and you're going to have safety, you're going to have justice, you're going to have a country, you're going to have a real country, you're going to have potentially a great country. You know, if you go back 20 years, maybe even a little longer ago, that was a great country.
I hate the precedent that's being set here, because it's just like one of those things where it's like America pretty much bombing and then like invading these countries basically and then rebuilding it from the ground up. Like, we're basically acting like the global police. I mean, tons of people on the conservative side have made claims saying it's not our job to be helping other countries. And I've heard them say that in the context of like helping kids in Africa dying from like AIDS and all these like other diseases in Africa. They're saying it's probably not our job to be helping them out, but it is our job to be bombing other countries indiscriminately and then pretty much rebuilding their infrastructure from the ground up, according to Trump's own words anyway. So it's fucking crazy. I mean, how much more of this do we need to watch? Like, there's more speech, there's more of this. Okay, here's the thing. There's a lot more of, like, answering questions and whatnot. I think we pretty much got the gist of it. I think we're gonna stop the segment here. I think we get the general idea. I am personally not a fan of indiscriminately bombing other countries. I don't think what Venezuela was doing was good. It probably was not a great thing. But I don't think that means that we should be bombing other countries just because they don't do a good thing. You know what I mean? Especially considering that puts the U.S. in the crosshairs for potential war. Even if it's not like a big war. I mean, look at 9/11. That didn't result in like a big war necessarily. Against us anyway. Like, or... you know, like, we didn't really take that much of a dent of it. The only thing that was a huge dent was the 9/11 attack itself, and that was huge for us, basically. But, like, it didn't cause the fall of the U.S., is my point. I wasn't trying to, like, downplay 9/11. Sorry. Fucking terrible choice of words. But anyway, like, what I'm saying is that, like, when that was about oil as well. Because we were taking oil from places like Afghanistan and Saudi Arabia as well. And that wound up being, like, a massive, like, detriment because we wound up getting fucking attacked for it. So, it's just fucking, it's crazy. I mean, I feel like this is a horrible precedent to be setting, and who fucking knows? Even if it's a small attack in the U.S., it's still probably not good to put the U.S. in the crosshairs of another fucking war, just because Trump is so desperate to distract from the fact that he's a fucking pedophile on the Epstein files. But yeah, cool stuff. And for oil, too. Can't forget that either.